There it is, AKAPADers. Just imagine. You're a 90s kid. You jump into your local comic shop and you have 2 issues of Wildcats. Let's just say you got 2 issues to catch up on. You lay down $5, which was a lot of money for some comics back then. And you get into the next issue of Wildcats, Covert Action Team. So let's just say you're a fanboy and you're just all in. You're still on that Jim Lee hype. But you know Jim Lee's not drawing anymore. But we have Travis. Travis is drawing Wildcats. And you read issue 18. And you read it in about 5 minutes. Because this comic book is a 5-minute read that runs 16 pages. And then we have a god-awful backup story. But you say to yourself, well, we got 19 here. Okay, time for some redemption. Cheer me up. And you see Lee. Lee's here. Jim Lee's back. And we have a Travis cover. But why is Jim Lee not drawing the cover? What is happening? And you go through this. And it's another 5-minute read. I'm being generous when I say 5 minutes. And then that's only 20 pages. This is the end of the Wildstorm universe. This is the beginning of the end of Wildstorm Productions. Welcome to Wildstorm Wednesday. This was one of my hardest episodes, and it should be one of my shorter episodes, to put together because we have a lot of ideas today for Wildstorm Wednesday. We have a lot of crossroads, cross sections, layers to an onion. But welcome back. It's Wildstorm Wednesday. This is where we just hang out on the TV in Jim Lee's office while he just kicks up his feet and reads Watchmen. What are you doing, Jim? What were you doing during this period? Oh my God. So, Travis CHAREST, inheritor of the throne. Jim Lee is out. We all know Jim Lee needs to take a break. So, when it comes to the comic book news and commentary for the time, you were disappointed to get the Jim Lee news, but the writing was on the wall if you had a good enough eye going from Wildcats issue to issue, panel to panel. In summary, you can see that a lot of times Jim Lee was credited, but it's the Wildstorm studio kicking in, getting these issues done. That doesn't mean there's not spectacular sequences and illustrations in roughly the first 2 years of Wildcats. Yes, and Jim Lee drew almost all of it. But you're upset to get the Jim Lee news. Jim Lee's out. Travis CHAREST is in. And it ends here. He cannot even complete issue 18. And Jim Lee comes in as layout boy for issue 19. Wildcats doesn't get any traction whatsoever until Alan Moore is attached. And we're a little bit away from that. Well, I still hold the view that Alan Moore destroyed Wildcats. James Robinson is the best writer of the time. James Robinson is doing his best back-to-back months, pretty much putting together something from what we can see are just incomplete pages, incomplete stories, missing pages. I mean, there's two god-awful backup stories here, just to give the reader something that's their money's worth. Travis failing at Wildcats, and then these 2 issues purposely leading into like Hightower's coming out party. Hightower's one of the villains for the Wildstorm Universe. Wildstorm Rising, the true super mega company crossover. All the titles get involved right after this issue. Wildstorm never really comes back. It just doesn't. It's so frustrating. Gen 13 is kind of like the regular fun read around this time, but even Gen 13 stumbles as soon as J. Scott is out, and that book had so much good faith. It really went on for another 3 years. Let's hit the drawing table. I just want to illustrate, pun intended. I just want to showcase what happened with Travis, what happened with this issue. We're going to preview a little bit of the next issue here, which is the Jim Lee layout issue. But that's another episode, because I want to get into Wildstorm Rising, but we have a couple obstacles leading into it. So guys, just be patient. Welcome. Yeah, so guys, let's hit that drawing table. Let's just get disappointed together. Let's just go. There it is. There it is. I mean, let's just get that lighting going. I don't know. So, Voodoo gets shot up in the previous issue. They have her hooked up to a wonderfully drawn Travis contraption here. I love the tech. He does these like hollow cylinders. Like really freaking nice. Void is going to patch into this machine and they're going to go into Voodoo's mind. Long story short, they kind of find out that Voodoo and, along the way, we cut to Grifter putting in the hard work. He's trying to track down Hightower. Guess what? He does that at the end. But this is what we want from Travis too at the time, right? Like we want this from Travis, right? But we need panels. We just don't want like endless splash pages or partial splash pages. But he does these like bullet marks and he's just really good with like the world, like the details of the world. I mean, even here, like I love the stage lights, and one of the lights is just poking in the wrong direction. We're espionage. We're hunting down the guy. We're killing demonites left and right. And then Voodoo travels into the mind. This is very Empire Strikes Back. Voodoo travels into the mind of Void to save her life. And she sees these like allegories, these metaphors, her subconscious at work. James Robertson, you can tell James Robertson just has images. And he does his absolute best. I think he does a stellar job in getting this to a readable level. If you don't believe me, just talk to Pike. He'll tell you. And we find out that she has feelings for Spartan, which we knew that was hinted all the way back in issue, the vacation issue. I believe that was issue 8 or 9. All the other members of WildC.A.T.s in Voodoo subconscious are demons, right? They're little demon guys. And they're just fighting. And she's going from, Void calls them chambers. She's going from chamber to chamber. Here we go. We have, then we cut to Grifter doing his Mission Impossible stuff. Riding a bike, hitting, beating guys with bats, beating silhouettes with bats. So, so many silhouettes. Kicking people off of boats, hanging people, but he's doing work. And then we find out that the demon knights back on Earth, thousands and thousands of years ago, really could not reproduce. So they splice. They splice with the Caribbean. They basically splice with their greatest enemies. And that's kind of where we see like Hightower and Voodoo are dynamic opposites. We're okay with that. We love dynamic opposites. And Voodoo's like the gifted child that can see within the hearts and minds of people like Crypt. And Voodoo can be like, Crypt, you're a demon knight. And she can exorcise the demon, right? But the demon knights are also shape-shifting, as we previously spoke about. So, Voodoo's powers are a little bit null. But then we have this other guy, Hightower, that's like hinted here. And then we get more of the chambers, more of Voodoo. Void at this point encourages and walks Voodoo through slaying herself. This is the Empire Strikes Back part. Voodoo slays herself, and she's like, still a sexy demon knight. Slices her in two. Wonderfully drawn cape here too by Travis, guys. I love this cape. And here too, like Grifter's jacket, his little duster. Really nice cape work. Grifter gets a name, gets Hightower's real life human name, and then he basically Googles it, finds a guy. Voodoo wakes up in time for the next mission, aka company-wide crossover. Jacob gets a call, and here we go. Cole Cash here, aka Grifter. It's like, I found him. It's like, good job. Everyone gear up, because we have the Caribbean, and then we have Hightower. We are in for a bruising. And that's it. That's the issue. Alan Moore brings a lot of attention to the book, and we'll get into that. But here, what we're going to do moving forward on Wildstorm Wednesday, we're going to pick up the other titles that all lead into the crossover. If you guys need to see the crossover, I mean, the issue picks up in the right way. The Jim Lee. We're going to get into this a little bit more detail. But here's Hightower. WildC.A.T.s shows up. Everyone fights. Everyone fights. Everyone fights. We get some like nice, good action-driven layouts, and we get some like nice Jim Lee poses. Joe Bennett is doing the finishes. But essentially, like at the end here, and this backup story has got to go. At the end, Stormwatch shows up, to be continued. Wildstorm Rising, Part 1. Wildstorm Rising, Part 1 is drawn by Barry Windsor Smith, and is essentially a WildC.A.T.s versus Stormwatch long fight scene, with Hightower running around looking for a Demonite key. It doesn't, the easy explanations have run out at this time, AKAPAD. So I am a little bit challenged moving forward. You want to say, if Travis was rocking and rolling, he would have been the incentive to really keep track of WildC.A.T.s and stomach a crossover, because what he was doing really was, it was so interesting and so new. So there's so many elements within his work, just intersections. All right, guys, we don't have much today. Sorry about that.